Hi everyone, I'm Felix, and I was born with the weirdest allergy. An allergy to dust. It had a weird smell that always made me sneeze uncontrollably. And as if that wasn't weird enough, I also came from a family of detectives. My paternal great-grandparents were FBI agents. They had a son who became a CIA agent, and married another agent, after which the two had a son, my dad, who also became a CIA agent, and fell in love with my mother, a private investigator whose parents were both FBI agents, and whose grandfather worked as a KGB spy during the World War. Then they both had me, the handsome one, and my sister, the ugly duckling who was a huge pain in my butt.
Stop bumping into me!
Stop being so close to me. Get your own tree. For as long as I could remember, Mom and Dad had been training Maud and I to take after them as detectives, just like the entire family was. Maud did pretty well, but I wasn't so great. I was very clumsy and I couldn't help it no matter how hard I tried. Do I really have to be a detective? I hate spying on people.
Don't say that. We're giving you basic life skills in case anything bad ever happens. Never trust anyone. Ever.
My parents didn't trust anyone around them, and because of that, we barely had any friends. In fact, the first time I made my first friend, they chased him away with all their weirdness. Who gave you the chocolate and sent you? The mafia? The KGB? Answers, now!
My granny?
After that day, I never saw him again, and I was pretty mad at them, but I got over it quickly. Meanwhile, at school, I loved to spend most of my time in my favorite place, the lab, where I could study dust particles and develop a cure for my allergy. One day, I was brainstorming when a girl sneaked up behind me.
Hey, what you doing?
And holy smokes, she was pretty. Whoa, I didn't see you there. I'm Felix. Sorry. God, I wish the ground could open up and swallow me. Didn't have any conversation skills with girls because my parents' distrust chased everyone away.
I'm Diana, and I'm a new student. My parents just moved here.
What brings them to Cottingwood?
Just work. So, what are you busy with?
I have an allergy to dust, so I'm trying to come up with a cure.
Whoa, that's super cool! Can I touch?
Sure. After that day, Diana and I became super tight friends. We sat next to each other on the school bus, and she waved goodbye to me whenever it dropped me off first. One day, I was on my way home from the bus when I ran into Maud at the store. Thought you were Voldemort. You shouldn't be sneaking in on people with that face.
Says the nerd. By the way, who's the girl you were waving at?
She's called None of Your Business. I walked away from her before she could say anything more. The next morning, I missed the school bus and had to walk all the way to school. On my way, I bumped into Diana.
Hey, you missed the bus too.
Yeah, seems like we're both unlucky. We walked to school together until we came across a miniature diamond-crusted Santa, sitting quaintly in a show glass in the middle of the town square.
What's that?
It's a Cottingwood Christmas tradition. Santa is rumored to be from here, so this was built in his honor. Everyone believes that there's been a lot of good fortune to the town since this was erected, especially with Christmas approaching.
It looks so valuable. Is it safe to leave something like that out here?
It's guarded by security, so I doubt it'll get stolen.
What a super interesting tradition. I love your town. Christmas here will be the best.
Come on, let's go, or we'll be late. Diana and I rushed to the school, and later, when we were on our way back, we noticed a crowd had gathered around the statue we had been talking about this morning. Curious, I asked someone what all the fuss was.
Our Santa relic has been stolen!
How? It was just here this morning. Felix showed it to me.
Well, someone's stolen it. This Christmas is going to be bad.
Why would anyone steal Santa? The entire town was in turmoil. When I got home that day, my parents also seemed stressed about the entire situation.
This has never happened before. Who'd steal Santa?
I bet it's those new neighbors. It's not a coincidence that Santa suddenly goes missing when they moved here.
What new neighbors are you talking about, Mom? I really hoped she wasn't referring to Diana's family.
Here.
Mom suddenly whipped out her phone and shoved it in my face. To my surprise, it was. How do you already have their pictures?
When they moved in, I did some background check. And get this, they moved out of their old town within 2 months of staying there. They've been doing so with all other towns for years.
Maybe they have their reasons. Not everyone is evil, Mom. Suddenly, Maud appeared behind me and looked at the picture on the phone.
Hey, that's your little girl?
She's not my little anything. Shut up, Maud. I tried to shush Maud, but Mom and Dad already heard her. And soon enough, their attention was on me.
Felix, it's time you went on a mission like your sister. Your mission will be this girlfriend of yours.
You'll use your friendship with her to investigate her family and find clues connecting them to the robbery.
Huh? What? I'm not doing anything. And she's not my girlfriend.
If you don't, we'll have to do it ourselves.
I couldn't let that happen. My parents were super weird when they didn't trust someone, and they could make me lose my friendship with Diana. I had to agree to the mission. Spying on Diana behind her back was really hard. I felt like a terrible friend, and each time she asked if something was wrong, but I knew I couldn't even tell her the truth.
Are you sure you're okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry. Then one day, she asked me out to dinner with her family, and I agreed. After all, this was what Mom and Dad wanted, right? If I could establish Diana's innocence, they'd be off her back. Dinner with Diana and her parents was fun. They were pretty cool people who showed actual interest in my science experiments, unlike Mom and Dad.
Felix, right? Diana said you were a scientist developing some sort of cure? How's that coming along?
I'm actually close to finishing it. I just need some ghost orchid seeds, but they're hard to find around here.
You're just in luck, kid. I have some from our trip to Cuba. My husband and I are globetrotting reporters, so I frequently collect souvenirs from each country we visit.
That explained Mom's discovery about them moving from one town to another in a short time. Really? That's awesome! After the dinner, I followed Diana's mom to her room to get the seeds, and on my way out, I came across a door that got me really curious. It had a huge keep off sign pasted to it. I wondered what was in there, but I opened the door and was attacked by a cloud of dust. My allergy struck in, and I started to sneeze uncontrollably. At that moment, Diana walked in on me and ran over to my side to help.
Oh, Felix! What's wrong? Are you alright?
She looked around until her gaze settled upon the open room in front of us, and she turned to me with a frown.
Were you snooping around my house?
I can explain. It's Santa.
Santa? You think I stole it? You're a jerk, Felix, and I want you to leave my house this instant!
She had a really mad look on her face that I had never seen before, and I had to leave. When I got out, my sneezing stopped and I felt a little better, so I went home, ashamed and angry at my parents for ruining another friendship for me. But this was the last time. As soon as I got home, I found Mom and Dad waiting for me with high expectations on their faces.
Well, how was it?
Did you find anything incriminating?
God, they were beginning to annoy me to no end. No, I found nothing. And thanks to you guys, you've ruined another friendship for me.
Honey,
Leave me alone! I ran up to my room. The next day when I got to school, I searched around for Diana and finally found her in the cafeteria, alone at a table, and approached her. Diana, about yesterday, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to snoop around your house.
I'm also sorry for yelling at you like that. I didn't mean to. It's just that the room you opened is an old basement with a rodent problem from the previous tenants, and we didn't want an infestation in the main house before the pest control people could arrive.
I understand. I really hate rats.
Right? They're so tiny and annoying.
Diana and I reconciled and became inseparable. She always came over to my house. Dad and Mom never said anything about it. Guess that after my attitude from that day, they felt quite repentant. But Maud, she was a constant pest and always had something to say.
Oh, look! It's the nerd and his girlfriend! What are you two up to this time?
Back off, Smeagol. Nothing here is for your small brain. Maud laughed as she picked a tube of some chemicals I just mixed and sniffed it.
Smells like vanilla ice cream. I wonder what it tastes like.
No, Maud. That's my allergy antidote. It's still in progress. Don't. Before we could finish our sentences, Maud took a small sip, and Diana and I stared at her curiously. Are you all right, Maud? You weren't supposed to drink that. I wasn't done with it yet.
Calm down, Albert Einstein. It was just a sip. What's that smell?
Suddenly, Maud's nose started to grow red, and she began to sneeze a lot.
What smell? That awful scent! I need to get out of here!
Maud bolted from the room, and throughout the day, whenever she came close to me or my room, she sneezed like crazy. As a result, she began to avoid me and claimed that she was allergic to me. Typical Maud. Now I was tasked with making an antidote for her too. During the week, I got so busy with developing the antidotes that I missed Mom and Dad's presence in my room one day. Oh, I didn't see you two there.
Honey, your mom and I have been thinking of a way to show you how sorry we are about that day. Why don't you invite Diana and her parents over for lunch? We'd like to know our neighbors a little better.
Really?
Yes, Felix, I think it will be a great bonding moment for everyone.
I phoned Diana excitedly and asked if her parents could come have lunch with mine. She quickly asked them and they all agreed to come over. During the lunch, Maud couldn't make it because of her Felix allergy, but the conversations flowed smoothly regardless. Until Mom and Dad went a bit off the mark and began to ask weird questions.
I love the diamonds on your neck. They remind me of a certain diamond-crusted Santa. Where did you get them?
Have you ever taken something that doesn't belong to you? Like a Santa statue, for instance.
I realized what they were up to. As Diana's dad dipped his hand into his pocket to pull out his phone, Mom and Dad suddenly leaped across the table to confront him.
I knew it! You're a thief!
Stealing a cutlery, are you? What? I'm just trying to get out my phone.
So, this is why you invited us over? For you and your parents to embarrass us? Come on, we're leaving this silly house!
Diana and her parents left the house angrily, and I faced Mom and Dad, disappointment written all over my face.
Honey, we didn't mean to go that far. We just wanted to make sure.
Save it. I'm sick and tired of you guys always ruining everything. I didn't want to hear any more of their excuses. I needed some space. So I walked out of the house and just strolled down the street, lost in my thoughts, but as I walked, I noticed empty shops and people huddled together, whispering. What was wrong this time? I approached a friendly-looking shopkeeper and inquired, "Hey, please, do you have any idea what's going on?"
Do you live under a rock? Someone's been stealing from our town for weeks. First Santa, now our goods and personal belongings. Something has to be done, or Christmas will be bad for us all.
This was more serious than I thought. A serial thief was on the loose in my town. I also noticed that in the spot where Santa had been earlier, some flowers were growing there. They weren't just any flowers, they were ghost orchids, just like the ones Diana's mom had given me. But that'd mean, no, I couldn't bear to think of it. I turned back and strolled home, so confused about everything. As I passed by Maud's room that night, I noticed she looked in a worse state than before and felt really bad for her. Hey Maud, do you need help?
Go away! That scent! It's everywhere!
When I turned around to leave, that was when I noticed the ghost orchid seeds on her table and the Santa statue hiding in the open drawer. Maud, what's this? I asked as I picked the statue up.
I can explain.
And these!
Felix,
I was speechless as a lot of thoughts invaded my head. Maud's sneezes got worse, limiting her speech, and I had to leave the room back to mine. I sat at my table frustrated. Something wasn't right. A lot of things weren't adding up. I could feel it in my bones. Since we were kids, Maud had never had reason to steal. So why now? I got up from my desk to find Mom and Dad and found them in the sitting room. Mom, Dad, we have to talk.
If it's about the dinner.
No, it isn't. It's about the thief. I found the Santa and Diana's orchid seeds in Maud's room.
Our baby girl isn't a thief.
Exactly. I've thought about this whole thing, and my guts tell me there's someone out there trying to frame Maud or Diana's family. The person thinks they're smart, but we're detectives, and we're smarter. My parents had looks of surprise on their faces, but I couldn't blame them.
I thought you didn't like being a detective.
Well, I just wanted you and Mom to give me some breathing space.
Oh, sweetie, you should have just said so. And for real, we're really sorry about the dinner this time.
Mom and Dad apologized over and over, and after a while, they got out some UV lights for the investigation. We started with Maud's room, tracing handprints and footprints in the dark.
A shoe print that belongs to none of us. That's our first clue. We'll follow the shoe prints.
I'll be out of your hair soon, Maud.
I want to tag along.
You don't have to. No matter what I said, Maud insisted, and we had no choice but to agree because Maud always did what she wanted anyways. When we left the house, Maud's sneezing subsided. We began to follow the pattern of the footprints all the way to
Diana's house?
We found Diana and her family packing up their things out of the house into a big van. Diana, why are you guys moving out this late at night? She avoided my eyes guiltily, and Maud's sneezing came back tenfold.
Ugh, that scent. It's so strong on you. It's choking me. I have to leave.
That was when it dawned on me. Maud wasn't allergic to me. She was allergic to Diana. The only reason she thought she was allergic to me was because Diana was often around me, so I carried some of her scent. Diana, why is Maud allergic to you? Did you mess with my antidote?
Yes, I mixed your antidote with my scent. It wasn't meant for Maud. It was meant for you. I wanted you to stay away from me. I'm a bad person.
How? Suddenly, Mom exclaimed.
Oh my God, you guys are the thieves!
I found her looking at the back of the van Diana's family were loading their things into. Inside were a lot of stolen items from the town residents. I couldn't believe my eyes. All this while, you've been the thieves, and you've been tricking me.
I'm so sorry, Felix, but I wasn't tricking you. My daughter has a condition called kleptomania. She can't help stealing, and that's the real reason we've never stayed long in any town.
I was the one who planted the evidence in Maud's room. Your parents were onto me.
We were going to return everything stolen tonight before driving to another town.
I stared at Diana, and she really looked sad. I felt bad for her. I moved closer and grasped her hand in mine. I had no idea you had a mental condition, Diana. You could have told me.
I was ashamed. Your parents didn't like me so much. What if you stopped liking me too?
That'll never happen. There's a reason I always stood up for you to my family. It's because I believed you were different and special.
Oh, Felix, I'm so lucky to have a friend like you.
Diana hugged me before turning towards her parents.
Dad, Mom, I'm sorry for being a difficult kid. You've always been by my side, and you're the best parents ever.
Come here, honey.
Diana hugged her parents, and the moment felt so passionate it almost made me tear up. Dad and Mom stepped up to Diana's family, looking remorseful.
We're also sorry for making your stay in Cottingwood uncomfortable. Please don't travel. Your daughter can get help here. We know a good mental health facility.
Diana's parents accepted Dad's offer, and the following day we helped them in returning all of the stolen items. We put Santa back in his spot, and in a week I finished my antidote. After drinking it, Maud and I got better.
It worked! I guess we will have a scientist in the family for a change. I'm proud of you, brother.
Thank you, Maud. It really means a lot. I was finally accepted for being different in my family, and I think this was the best Christmas ever.
We wish you a Merry Christmas.
After the festive season, Diana left for the mental health facility, and I kept in touch with her. And then, one day when I visited her, she had a surprise to show me.
They asked us to paint the most special person or thing in our lives.
Great, and what did you draw? Wow, Diana, this is beautiful. Wait, does that mean I'm your special person? Diana nodded shyly, and then kissed me on the cheek. I turned red, and then took her hand and drew her closer to me. You're special to me too, Diana.